ourselves. And thank you, Herizon. Congratulations on 2 impressive decades of fighting for more women to have their voices heard in all of the places where decisions are made.
Hi, I'm Keshet Star, and I'm the CEO of ORED, the Organization for the Resolution of Agunot. We were fortunate enough to receive funding for general operating support from Herizon, and your contribution allowed us to help address abuse in the Jewish divorce process, make sure that Orthodox Jewish survivors of spousal abuse are able to fully leave their marriages, both in terms of the civil divorce and the Jewish divorce, and you helped us educate the next generation of Orthodox young women and girls about abuse prevention, empowerment, and how they can be part of creating a brighter future and a community where everyone is safe. Thank you for everything.
Dear friends at Herizon, I'm Hadass Danieli Elin, Executive Director of the Israel Women's Network, the IWN. The IWN was founded in 1984 with the aim of promoting a more just and egalitarian society in Israel by advancing gender equality and women's rights. Since 1987, the network has been operating an open line for women's rights at work, which provides women with a free legal response in cases of rights violations, gender discrimination, or sexual harassment at work. The free hotline provided support to an average of 1,500 women per year. The support of Herizon in the hotline for Russian and Ukraine-speaking women has been assisting us in establishing the new line in 2022, expanding it, and recruiting a lawyer that gives free legal advice to Russian-speaking women regarding every question they have about their rights at work. The support of Herizon helped us to expand our services and reach a large number of women who suffer from discrimination and rights abuse and make the labor market in Israel more equal. I would like to thank you for your generous support and wish you a happy new year. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Daniel Brenner with Moving Traditions. For over a decade, Moving Traditions has helped Jewish summer camps support their campers by addressing some of the most problematic aspects of camp, including sexist language, gender-based harassment, and even sexual assault. Through Culture Shift, we train camp staff to identify the underlying dynamics at play and give them tools that they need to guide thousands of new staff, 18 and 19-year-old counselors who care for their campers. Herizon's support enabled Moving Traditions to train over 150 full-time camp professionals from over 30 Jewish summer camps in our online and in-person trainings. Included in that 30 were many organizations that serve South Florida's Jewish teens, including all BBYO camps, all Union for Reform Judaism camps, as well as Young Judea and other camps. As a result of your support, thousands of first-time bunk counselors and other young staff were trained on issues of consent and were better prepared to help their campers thrive. And now we're building a similar training program for teens who are taking Israel trips. On behalf of Moving Traditions, thank you, Herizon, for your partnership and commitment to emboldening Jewish teens to thrive.
Mazel Tov Herizon on reaching this monumental milestone of 20 years of making a difference for women and girls. I'm Rachel Stomel, Director of English Communications at the Center for Women's Justice. The Center for Women's Justice is a legal advocacy organization in Israel that defends women's rights whenever they are violated by the state in the name of religion. Together, we are creating much-needed social change for women in Israel, using strategic litigation in the courts, by reshaping the public discourse, and through our practical, civil, and religious tools that ensure marital freedom for women. The battle for women's rights in Israel has not been easy, but Herizon has been with us every step of the way, rising to the challenge with passion and perseverance. Herizon, you were right there with us in the courtroom as we freed Agunot, women trapped in marriage, not only from the abuses of their husbands, but from the abuses of the state rabbinic courts. Herizon, you held the hands of children who came to us blacklisted by the state as mamzerim and stripped of their legal rights, and you didn't let go until we got their rights and dignity back. Herizon, you were not afraid to stand up with us and yell no when state courts initiated invasive Jewishness investigations and even revoked the Jewish status of women immigrants and converts. Herizon, you sat beside us on the benches of the Supreme Court as we fought against discrimination at the Western Wall, inequitable divorce laws, gender segregation in academia, and more. Herizon, because of you, more women know that they have somewhere to turn in the face of injustice. And more women know that a better future is not only possible, it is our moral imperative. Because of your unfaltering support, we are able to trailblaze a way towards a more just, equitable, and democratic Israel for all women. We look back on our years together with gratitude and look forward with determination and with hope. Mazel Tov from all of us at the Center for Women's Justice.
Dear Herizon board member, management, and team, I wanted to congratulate you for your 20 years celebration. My name is Dr. Mazal Shaul. I am the Executive Director of WePower, a non-partisan NGO in Israel which you supported over the years, and you have been our great and good partner specifically for leadership programs in the municipalities. We taught them tools of gender equality, tools of leadership, tools of management, and tools of politics. Those women, part of them, we find them now in our parliament member. Some of them are mayors, some of them are Knesset members, some of them are in very high position in the municipalities, and not only. So your support over there assists us really to reach those women and give them all the tools that we can to increase their capabilities and their empowerment and power in the municipalities. So thank you so much and have a great celebration.
Mazel Tov Herizon on celebrating your 20th anniversary of impact and making a difference for women and girls around the world. I am Lital Cohen, Resource Development at Women's Spirit, Financial Independence for Women Survivors of Abuse in Israel. You have been our partner since 2020, supporting our project, Breaking the Bind, which ignites change on the macro level for women survivors of abuse. Herizon, you understand that economic abuse is abuse. You know that the story of abuse is not the story of a single woman, but rather the story of so many of us. Economic abuse hits every creed, color, religion, and every socioeconomic group. It could be the story of any of us, not just her over there. Breaking the Bind changes policy and legislation that either binds a woman in an abusive relationship or throws her back into the cycle of abuse after she left, due to outdated laws and regulations. So down from the bottom of our hearts, Herizon, your support has enabled us to bring about policy changes, international conferences, awareness, and most importantly, the understanding that a new life is possible.
Happy anniversary, Herizon. I'm Ashiki Cipher from Families First of Palm Beach County. I'm the program supervisor of our TAPA program, which stands for Targeted Outreach for Pregnant Women Act. We are so very thankful for your support of our TAPA program. Your funding has helped us to conduct outreach and education all over the county to ensure that the most vulnerable pregnant women in Palm Beach County receive the health care and support they need for healthy birth outcomes. We are so honored to have been one of your grantees in your 20-year history. Keep up the great work.
Hi, I'm Dr. Naomi Marmon-Grummet, founder and director of the Eden Center, which works to empower Jewish women and girls around their intimate lives and uses the mikveh as a platform to promote our physical, emotional, and sexual health and well-being. Herizon has been so generous to us through your grants, and you have allowed us, both through our mikveh attendant empowerment education, which you funded, and with our general grant funding, to make the mikveh a truly supportive space for women, a space that in Israel is visited by more than 1 million women each year, and the education that we've been able to give as a result of your funding. Thank you for supporting our education and making all of Israel safer through the education of women. Herizon, Mazal Tov on your 20th anniversary.
Hi, My name is Mubarak Idris, and I'm a Community Engagement Exchange Fellow with Unchained at Last, a survivor-led nonprofit organization dedicated to ending forced and child marriage in the United States through direct services and advocacy. Herizon was one of our first major donors back in 2015, though
Okay, should we go? Is the mic on?
It's on.
I guess we're ready to go.
Let's do it.
Just want to welcome everyone. It's such a wonderful crowd when I look out at the sea of faces, and I see so many new and old friends here. We're thrilled to have you at this 20th anniversary luncheon for Herizon. So we want to welcome you, and we want to thank you for joining us for celebrating our Herizon's 20th anniversary. I'm Marlene Silver, and
Hi, I'm Jamie Beal Howe. Great to be here with you all today. We're honored to be your co-chairs for this event today. So thank you. Stop it.
and you want
All right.
to go on there?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you really quickly. This is my second year of being a trustee with Herizon. And I will tell you this, there's nothing like aligning yourself with an organization whose mission aligns with your core values. And so the empowerment of, the advocacy for, the leadership for our young women and girls speaks to my spirit, and that is why I have been a trustee of Herizon, and I will continue to be a trustee of Herizon. So that is what Herizon means to me, and that's why I'm honored to have been asked to be your co-chair here today. Thank you. And you?
I guess I almost qualify as the old guard. I've been with the Jewish Women's Foundation when it was almost in its inception. I've been a 10-year trustee. And of course, I've watched the organization grow. I've watched the mission grow, and I am very much also in alignment with their core values. So we are giving some phenomenal grants over the last few years, and you will hear about that later today. We also want to tell you how appreciative we are of the following community leaders and public officials who are joining us today. And I think they're. Could you stand up? Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody just wants to wave your hand. You don't have to
Just
stand, but
yeah.
anybody that's here in attendance that's here, you can just wave your hands, give us a wave. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your continued support.
We'd also like to thank our generous campaign supporters and luncheon sponsors, and give a special thank you to our advocate sponsors, Edie Schmidt and Ozzy Medeiros from Table 26. Where are you? Just raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you for all the years you've been with us and for all the wonderful, wonderful lunches and meals that you've served to our organization, and you've really made those events so very special for us. Thank you for your help and service. Thank you. And we also have our centerpieces here today, our beautiful centerpieces. They are available for purchase for $25, and you'll see an envelope on the table. Or you could please see one of the staff, and they'll help you make that purchase. Jamie,
And along that same thought process, we want to encourage all of you to take a minute to look in those grab bags that you have. There are a lot of great things in there. There's a program in there to help you understand who we have funded previously, who we will continue to fund. So please don't just push them to the side. Take a few minutes and take a look at what's in there. Lots of goodies from our sponsors, and you'll be delighted to see what's in that bag. So thank you.
And we also want to take a moment to, a few minutes today to peruse the program book also, which features tribute messages and ads from our sponsors, and a list of both our current grantees and every organization that Herizon has funded over the last 20 years.
And while we're here, we just want to make sure that we take a moment of silence to honor our Herizon members that are not here with us today. And so we just want to make sure that we honor them for everything that they have done for this organization. So please join us in just having a moment to honor those who are no longer with us today. Thank you.
I'd now like to invite Rabbi Michael Resnick from Temple Emmanuel to lead us in the blessing over the meal.
Surprise, you already
What happens
We
when you
didn't-
have breakfast.
I know, I could tell. Normally, I'm the guy who stops you from eating what you want, and I can see you're not limited by that anymore. So I'll make this fairly quick. I was asked to say a few words, a little Devar Torah, so I'll make it very brief. There's a man, he's playing with his dog, and he takes the stick and he throws it out, and the dog runs after it, grabs it in his mouth, brings it back to its master, spits it out at his feet, and starts to say, how long are we going to do this stupid game? This is unsanitary, it's exhausting, I'm tired of running. You don't have any idea what this might do to my teeth, it's not good. And the guy says, hey. I said fetch, not kvetch. The world is filled with kvetchers. But kvetching doesn't get the job done. Being part of an organization, giving your time, your resources, and standing up for what you believe in helps make a change in the world. So you'll be happy to know that this is a blessed thing that we're doing. This is a sacred act being here today. And I want to wish everybody and bless everybody with a sense of purpose, a sense of belief that we can do far more than just kvetch. We can make change. We can make the world a better place. We could help people's lives. And that's what you're doing by being here today. And that's what Herizon stands for. So God bless Herizon. God bless all of us. And may God give us the strength to do more than just complain, but to change and make the world a better place. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to do motzi, and then you could eat. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Eddie. Thank you, Rabbi Resnick and Jamie and Marlene. So please continue eating your lunch while I go ahead and make my remarks. So welcome, members, friends, and guests. I am Jennifer Krishka, CEO, and I'm happy to see so many of you joining us today to celebrate Herizon's 20th anniversary. Thank you. We're celebrating the incredible impact we've made through our work, our remarkable honorees, and of course, International Women's Day. I love the enthusiasm today. I want to thank our event chairs and our committee, our board of directors, our incredible staff, Jackie, Holly, and Anna, for working so hard to make today successful. Can we just give them a round of applause, please? Today we are here to celebrate the history of our organization. History is another way of saying legacy. It's what we inherit and what we leave behind. This is something I think about a lot. What does it mean to live a meaningful life? How will I be remembered? Time and money are not infinite. Are we spending them wisely, joyously, carelessly? I am grateful to spend my time leading a women's organization actually devoted to women's issues, where every member and donor is valued equally, and fundraising is only a means to carry out our mission and not an end in and of itself. I have been with Herizon for almost 9 years, and I'm still deeply passionate about our mission, our commitment to long-term change, and our willingness to take risks and try new things. Being CEO of Herizon is part of my legacy, one that I am both humbled by and deeply proud of. and I am proud to be part of the legacy all of you are helping Herizon to create. More than 20 years ago, a group of women came together and created an inclusive giving circle at Jewish Federation called the Jewish Women's Foundation of the Greater Palm Beaches, or JWF, designed to create social change through gender lens grant making. Those pioneering women are our founding trustees. And today's celebration is part of their legacy. In 2014, as our work was expanding beyond grant making, we received an unexpected anonymous $1 million gift that enabled us to become an independent 501c3 and deepened the impact we could make for women and girls in Florida and Israel. Inspired by this act of generosity, Sadell Sonkin gifted JWF its second $1 million donation in 2016. Words will never capture how grateful we are to Sadell for her support. We all know what happened in 2020, but suffice it to say, we survived. We raised $30,000 to provide emergency COVID support to our local grantees and completed strategic planning. Last summer, we embarked on an ambitious rebranding process that included changing our name. Why? I get that question a lot. Because we are grounded in Jewish values, but our mission is to advance the status of all women and girls, and we wanted a name that reflected our inclusivity and cemented our individuality. We remain committed to creating systems change in 4 key areas: economic security, women's leadership, reproductive justice, especially now, and gender lens philanthropy, while amplifying women's voices and upholding Jewish values. Herizon is a small organization. We have a staff of 4 with an annual budget of less than $1 million. But size isn't everything, right? Except when you're talking about impact. To date, Herizon has awarded over $3,350,000 in grants. We've graduated 6 classes of teens through No Small Change, and 7 classes of young women professionals through Young Leaders Society, our leadership development programs. Every season, we offer 12 to 15 community education and advocacy programs to raise awareness around relevant legislation and the most pressing issues facing women and girls today, like housing insecurity, access to abortion care, sexual harassment and assault, and affordable childcare. This is the legacy of Herizon, one we look to you to help us grow as we move into the next decade as an organization. As a final thought, it is the words of Rabbi Hillel the Elder, which live close to my heart, that I think about every day. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? What do you want your legacy to be? And how will you achieve it? If you want to make an impact with your voice, ideas, and philanthropic dollars, you can do that through Herizon. We can all make a difference on our own, but collectively, our impact is amplified and boundless. Together, we can change the world. I would now like to call up Vivian Lieberman to present the Women of Inspiration Leadership Award. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Vivian Lieberman. The 2022 Leadership Award recipient and past Herizon Board Chair. I am so proud to present the Woman of Inspiration Leadership Award to Alana Faintak Hach today. I have known Alana for over 8 years and served with her on the Herizon Board of Directors and Finance Committee from 2015 to 2022. I've also had the opportunity to get to know her when Alana and I went to Israel together on a Herizon trip in 2016. Alana is currently co-chair of the Herizon Finance and Investment Committee, a member of Jewish Women's Foundation of the Jewish Federation of South Palm Beach, a member of the board of directors of Ruth and Norman Rails Jewish Family Service, as the chair of their Hebrew Free Loan Society, and on the board at the Jacobson Jewish Community Foundation as a member of the Investment Committee, to name some of the ways she lends her time, and philanthropy to improve the community. She is also a full-time mom to Jasper and Layla, and prior to that spent almost a decade in wealth management at UBS Financial Services. Alana is such a bright, humble young woman who cares deeply about her community, her family, and those closest to her. On behalf of Herizon, we present this award to you in honor of your inspirational leadership and commitment to women and girls in our community and in Israel. Alana, would you please come up? Congratulations. This is a beautiful heart award in honor of your success.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. It's very heavy. Thank you so much, Vivian. You truly are a woman of inspiration whom I admire dearly. Thank you to the board for bestowing this honor on me. I am so very moved. Thank you to all the past boards who I've had the privilege of serving with for trusting me, supporting me, and giving me opportunities to learn and grow. Thank you to all of you for being here today, especially my family and friends who've schlepped up here to be with me. Thank you to Marlene and Jamie and the event committee for your hard work on this beautiful luncheon. And a very special mazel tov and thank you to Karen, Eddie, and Ozzy for your unwavering support of this amazing organization. I am incredibly humbled to be the recipient of Herizon's Woman of Inspiration Leadership Award. Inspiration is pretty remarkable. The simplest thing can make such a profound impression. A person, a song, a smell, an experience, an event. Many of the people in this room have been an inspiration to me. You name it, it can be inspiring. But how often are we left feeling inspired without any next steps? There's buzz, excitement, desire, intention, and then it fizzles. It's channeling that inspiration and taking action that can change the trajectory of people's lives, of communities, and even the world. My earliest memories of really being inspired was walking the halls of the Sharon Home in Winnipeg, Manitoba, as a young girl. The Sharon Home was initially created by a group of Orthodox women concerned about the destitute elderly population with no family to care for them. It was primarily funded by the Jewish community as a demonstration of the Jewish value of caring for our elders. From its humble origin in 1915, It grew, moved locations, underwent name changes, and still to this day functions as one of the most state-of-the-art personal care homes in Canada, remaining deeply committed to Jewish traditions and values and delivering high-quality services with dignity, compassion, and expertise. So what was I doing there, you may ask? After emigrating to Winnipeg, Manitoba after World War II, my paternal grandfather, Henry Faintuck, of blessed memory, became the director. He and my grandmother spent 45 years working at the Sharon home, overseeing moves, physical expansions, additions of innovative services, and so much more. My grandfather pioneered the concept of enhancing the quality of life for the elderly by broadening the scope of services to meet the medical, social, and spiritual needs of its residents. Nurturing life, as opposed to simply maintaining life, and individualism were the cornerstones of their care. I grew up with my father sharing fond stories of his childhood in those halls and buildings. So anytime we would be in town to visit, we would always stop by to see my grandparents hard at work there. But I remember admiring how beloved they were by all of the residents, caretakers, and extensive staff. It made me proud to be there and clearly planted a seed when it comes to the importance of taking care of others, especially with such dignity and grace. Fast forward many years later to family meetings with my maternal grandparents. When we would travel and spend concentrated time together, my grandfather took it upon himself to share our family's history, stories of his life, and what was most important to him. With my grandmother by his side, they would stress the significance of philanthropy in their lives and how vital it was to help others, particularly our Jewish communities and the state of Israel. I was inspired by the passion with which he shared these sentiments and the joy it brought him to discuss various organizations or projects with which he was involved. While I didn't realize the impact at the time, these conversations and thought-provoking questions instilled in me not only a strong Jewish identity and Zionistic identity, but also a sense of responsibility in giving back and in carrying on my family's legacy. I was privileged to be born to the children of these remarkable people. I was raised in a nurturing and supportive home with parents that embodied these values that had been taught to them as they were growing up. My parents sacrificed to provide an incredible education and encouraged my siblings and I to experience all that life has to offer. The fact that I am a female was never a barrier for me. I was encouraged to play any and all of the sports, to have a voice and a seat at the table, and to have the confidence to never let an obstacle stand in my way. I was inspired by my father's work ethic and commitment to our family. After a long day of rounds at the hospital and seeing patients, he rarely missed a sporting event where I was playing, and there were many. I was inspired by my mom's unconditional love, strength, and dedication to our family. She raised 4 dynamic, strong-willed, and some may say challenging children, and did it infusing fun, delicious food, and ability to nurture independence without us even realizing it. The gift of growing up in my family is one that I will forever be grateful for, and the only justice I can do it, aside from striving to provide the same for my family, is paying it forward and working to give others the opportunities I had. I know that many girls are not as fortunate in a variety of ways, and that is one of the reasons I got involved with Herizon nearly 10 years ago, advancing the status of all women and girls to ensure that we all have the opportunity to learn and grow and inspire. For those of you who have had the opportunity to attend one of Herizon or previously Jewish Women's Foundation trustee luncheons, events, webinars, or meetings, you have experienced the undeniable buzz of inspiration during and after an event. not only hearing from our grantees about the important work they're doing around a certain issue, but also being surrounded by these smart, driven, dedicated women is a force in and of itself. I remember my first meeting. I heard Rabbi Levi Lauer of Atsum give an update on the work they were doing to combat human trafficking in Israel. The women all sat around the table and discussed various issues of the time. I remember thinking, this is something I want to be a part of. An organization making a difference by rolling up their sleeves and making it happen. I was inspired then by the meaningful work our grantees were doing. With each year and each grant we've given, the feelings of inspiration grow exponentially. I am always so proud to be part of this incredible organization and genuinely thank you all for being here and a part of it. If this is your first interaction with Herizon, then be prepared to experience these feelings with the extraordinary panel to come. Whatever you do, don't let the inspiration fade. Ride the wave and take action. Reflect on what your passion is, what you want your legacy to be, and how you want to inspire others and take the next step. Get involved, ask questions, seek out people doing meaningful work, whatever that is for you. Be the inspiration for someone else, and together we can keep moving forward and make this world a better and more equitable place. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Cohen, and I am thrilled to present this year's Rising Star Award recipient, Karen Stevens. Let me tell you a little bit about Karen. Karen is a partner at Stevens & Stevens Law Firm in West Palm Beach, where she focuses her practice on marital and family law. Prior to practicing law, Karen spent over 12 years working as a mental health counselor in private practice with the Department of Children and Families and with the Broward County School System. Karen is a graduate of the Florida State University, where she earned her bachelor's in psychology and her master's and specialist degrees in counseling and human services. Karen received her Juris Doctorate from Nova Southeastern University and received pro bono honors for her volunteer work during law school. Palm Beach Illustrated magazine recognized Karen as a top lawyer in marital and family law. U.S. News recognized Karen as its Best Lawyers, Ones to Watch section, and the Best Lawyers magazine called her a rising star for family law. Do you sense a theme here? Karen is passionate for advocacy and a skilled litigator in the courtroom. She has also served as a mentor with the Women of Tomorrow, which for the past 5 years, she has mentored at-risk high school women to live up to their full potential. Karen is a native South Floridian and currently lives in Wellington with her husband, David, and their adorable mini Aussie, Emma. She is an avid fan of the Florida State Seminoles, and in her spare time, seriously, what is spare time? Like, where do you have that? She loves going to the theater and traveling the world. I first met Karen through Herizon's Young Leadership Program. We bonded over brunches, Herizon events, and a shared love of the musical Hamilton. So today, Karen, I am thrilled to be in the room with you where it happens. Congratulations, Karen, on being this year's Rising Star recipient.
to hold my award, so. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for your words, for that introduction, and most importantly, thank you for your friendship. To the Herizon Board of Directors, the trustees, and the staff of Herizon, thank you. I am both humbled and honored to be receiving this year's Rising Star Leadership Award from this particular incredible organization. To be called a leader in this community and to be standing here before all of you today to receive this award as a leader, well, that is an honor that I certainly do not take lightly. I have never viewed myself as a leader. I just see myself as Karen, this woman standing before you who just wants to do some good in this world and have a great time on the journey doing it. I'm an attorney, as you heard. I'm also an advocate. I'm a mentor. I'm a friend. I am a best friend. I'm a wife, a daughter, a sister, a dog mom, and I'm a proud auntie. I'm also a boss. I'm a counselor. I am a feminist. I am a perfectionist. I am a community member, a volunteer, and I am a woman. To now, to now add the words leader and rising star to that short little resume, I'll take it. I will gratefully and humbly take it. Thank you. When I first joined Herizon back in 2018 and met Sarah and some other wonderful, incredible women who are here in this room, I was just looking for a place to give some of my time, however little there might be, my talents, and some of my passion. I was looking for a place where advocacy and education was at the forefront of an organization's mission, and that focus of that organization on issues affecting women and girls. My passion for doing some good in this world, especially for my fellow women, is a responsibility that I take very seriously. As an educated, professional, hardworking woman myself, there are still moments, though, that hit me like a ton of bricks and remind me that even though we have come so far as a society, we still have so much work to do, especially for women, especially in this current climate, where we have watched women over the last several years be stripped of rights, stripped of choices, stripped of freedoms. Our work as this organization and as members of this community is so much more important now than it ever has been. Just a few weeks ago, I had one of those eye-opening, reminder, wake-up kind of moments. I had ventured outside of Palm Beach County up to one of our neighboring counties to the north to handle a hearing on one of my cases. Being that we've spent the last couple of years doing court on Zoom, it's a rare thing to actually get out of the office these days. Before I had even reached the elevator in the courtroom that morning, or the courthouse that morning, I had already been called hun and sweetie by 2 male employees at the courthouse. Then, while I was waiting outside the courtroom for my hearing to start, I was looked up and down by a male attorney who then approached me first and asked me if I was lost. And then he asked me if I was his court reporter for that hearing. Despite all of my education, my hard work, all of my accomplishments, in that moment, I was reduced down to just some little woman who clearly needed help from a man and was lost. In moments like that, I'm reminded why I'm a member of this particular organization and why I proudly serve on the board of directors. We, as women, we, as a society, still have so much work to do. And not only for this generation, but for all the future generations of women behind us. For the young women that I mentor at Royal Palm Beach High School for the last 5 years. And for my 2 beautiful nieces, Harper and Audrey. And all of the young women out there and women who haven't even yet come to fruition. Those men at the courthouse that morning are not the norm. In fact, there are plenty of incredible men who are out there, and many of which are sitting in this room here today, who are strong allies and advocates on this journey with us. Men who support us, champion us, and stand beside us. I was raised by one of those kinds of men, my dad. I married one of those kinds of men, my husband. And I get to go to work every day with a law partner who's also one of those kinds of men. I also count amongst my friends, my colleagues, my employees, a bunch of other men who are also strong allies and advocates for us as women. Thank you. Exactly 1 week from today is my birthday. Woo! Happy early birthday to me. I'm going to be turning 43 years old despite the fact that I may not look it. Thank you. I have done a lot in my nearly 43 years of life, thanks to everything Sarah just explained to all of you so eloquently. But I know I have so much more work to do. I have so much more passion to share, and I have so much more change to make happen. Finally, I would be remiss if I was not standing before you all to congratulate both Alana, Eddie, and Ozzy today on their awards as well. Thank you for being allies in this wonderful organization and in this community. I'd also be remiss not to thank some of my biggest fans and the people who support me and make me this leader that you all recognize. To my parents, Harold and Patricia, who are sitting right there in front of me, thank you for making the trip here to be here for our lunch. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for believing in me, even when I didn't always believe in myself. Thank you for being my biggest cheerleaders and also my harshest critics when I needed it most. And thanks for instilling in me enough passion and work ethic to last me a lifetime. I hope I make you proud every day. To my husband, Dave, thank you for loving me fiercely. Thank you for being my greatest supporter, and every time I have a crazy idea, you're right there by my side to help make it happen. Thank you for knowing when to let me shine on my own, and also when I need your strength and support. To my best friends, Kara and Carrie, and I'm Karen, you got that? Who are here today, sitting next to my parents. Thank you for keeping me grounded. And thank you for filling my life with your love and your friendship and your kindness for so many decades now. To all of my incredible friends, and to my brother, Brian, my sister-in-law, Stephanie, who could not be here today, to my amazing team at work, to my friend and my law partner, Eddie, to my fellow Herizon board members and trustees, thank you. Thank you for supporting me and making me a better human. I promise to keep rising as your star. Oh, and in case you were wondering what happened to that guy outside the courtroom that day that asked me if I was lost, well, I actually went in the courtroom and kicked his ass. And I did it in a great pair of heels, too. Thank you so much.
Oh, good, my speech is here, I think. Good afternoon. My name is Brenda Korak, and I'm Herizon's Vice Chair and Grants Committee Chair. I thank you all for coming today to support women and girls through our work. Congratulations to Alana, Karen, Eddie, and Ozzy. Our panel discussion is going to be compelling, and I thank Holly Davis not just for being here today, but for being the smart, wry, and friendly person I have my first cup of coffee with every morning. This is the part of the program where we hope you will consider supporting our incredible organization. I can spare you the rest of my speech if somebody would like to raise their hand now and maybe pledge $1 million. I can wait, or I can go on. We come from many different backgrounds, and our expanding diversity is where Herizon's future lies. Let me tell you a bit about how I came to be standing here today. It has to do with my identity as a Jewish woman. As you know, Herizon was originally the Jewish Women's Foundation of the Palm Beaches. When we painstakingly considered our name change last year, it was crucial that both Jewish and women remain part of our identity. So now we are Herizon, Jewish Values, Female Voices. I have always loved hearing female voices. My mother's was and is at 96, very strong, my sister's as well. When I was in high school in the 1970s, Roe v. Wade was decided, and the women's movement was vibrant. I attended an all-women's college and acquired new sisters, one of whom is here today. I learned that many things look very different through my gender's lens. In my late 20s, I discovered Judaism and converted prior to my marriage. That was transformative. The teachings and values that resonated with me in a way that I never expected, and I became very involved in our synagogue and in local Jewish life. I joined JWF in 2018 after moving to Palm Beach Gardens from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I could enjoy an amazing lifestyle afforded by my country club community, but I also wanted to be engaged outside those gates. I wanted to find both a Jewish connection and a sense of sisterhood. Through a friend, I was aware of JWF and I became a trustee. I participated on committees, and I followed JWF's growth as we moved from being a grant-making organization to one that also provides essential programs and advocacy on behalf of girls and women. From what I learned, and because of Jennifer's incredible commitment and persuasiveness, I co-chaired the Grants Committee, I serve on the board, and I am now the vice chair. We have many causes that need and deserve our money. It is reported that less than 2% of U.S. charitable dollars are given to causes supporting women. Yet so-called women's issues are vast and in dire need of support through social change. Our Grants Committee spent countless hours selecting this year's 10 additional grantees. We sought organizations committed to providing economic security for women and girls and prioritizing reproductive rights, housing insecurity, and affordable childcare. Today, we are helping women gain access to abortion. We are helping former victims of sex trafficking have safe shelter and services here in West Palm Beach. We are helping Ukrainian refugee women now living in Israel get job training so they can support their families. And we're helping former homeless and incarcerated women get a small stipend to help them find employment because they don't have the funds to buy an appropriate outfit or have transportation to get to a job interview. That's a small sampling of the 20 organizations that we currently support just through grants. We look to partner with them and others to embrace and support each other's missions. We do this on a relative shoestring. We don't want that string to break. Jewish values, female voices. I hope something you hear today will stir you and move your spirit. Think about becoming involved with Herizon. You will not be sorry. Not only in doing tikkun olam and good works, but engaging with our brilliant and caring community of women, and maybe some men. Get on our mailing list, attend another event, become a member. I thank those of you who have led the way these past 20 years. So now I ask each of you to please consider our mission, the things that inspire you today. There are donation cards on the table which can be collected today or sent to us in case there's $1 million check inside. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Holly Davis. I am the morning anchor at WPTV. Whether you are familiar with the work that Herizon does or a newbie like myself, what this group has come to represent to so many is nothing short of impressive. We are so glad to have some panelists joining us now who are also committed to doing the work And I've got to tell you, as a mother of 3 girls, my husband wants to go for a boy. I told him it's not happening. I am absolutely grateful for people who lean in and not just talk the talk, but walk the walk as well. We are pressed for time, but I think you're going to find that this is the part of our luncheon that is the meat. It is the substance. And if you're looking for a way to get involved, if you need a cause to champion, I believe if you listen closely, you're going to find in these organizations, these partner organizations, that your calling is in this room. So with that said, I'm going to allow you all to kind of introduce yourself a little bit more, but I'll give a general hello. We have Takita King-Pang. She is the director, executive director of the Women's Foundation of Florida. Thank you for being here today. Christina Lucier of the Lord's Place. Lauren Stumer, she is the treasurer of Herizon and a board member. She was also an alumna of the Herizon's Young Leader Society. And then Freddie Reese, not Rice. Got it. And I'm actually really delighted that you're here today to spotlight an issue that I think so many people still don't know is going on. Unchained at Last is your organization. So let me start, Takita, with you. What do you see in your world, your field today, that still presents a challenge for women and girls?
That's a big question. So at the Women's Foundation of Florida, one of the big parts of our work is advocacy. And it's through direct advocacy, talking to legislators, but also encouraging women to step up, to run for office, to serve in elected and appointed positions. And I would say one of the biggest challenges that we're really experiencing is the fact that, as was mentioned, policy and legislation is not the most uplifting thing right now. We saw the overturning of Roe v. Wade in May of last year. I will tell you, as someone who's worked in reproductive rights for most of my career, that was really hard to manage and figuring out how do we battle back? What is these next steps? And I will say that that is something that we're hearing from the people we're training to run for office. We're hearing from the women who are currently serving in office. How do we keep the hope alive? How do we look to doing positive things for women and girls when it feels like the government is against us, when legislation and policy is attacking sex education, access to reproductive health care, but more specifically, legislation that's attacking women serving in elected office. We have legislation that's coming through this year to limit the terms of our school board members, to make them partisan, to make sure that school board members don't have to live in the districts they run for until they're elected. And then even those attacks are coming all the way down to the local and municipal level. They are trying to make all of our local elected officials partisan and take away that nonpartisan community of working together to accomplish change for all people. And so that is a big challenge we're seeing in the women and girls that we work with and the advocacy that we do.
Do you think your members are revved up? Are they still passionate about it? Or have you grown a little weary? There's been a lot of headwinds, especially this last couple of months, really.
Just in the last week or two, you may know legislative session started yesterday with an even more horrific ban on abortion here in the state of Florida. And so, yeah, we're exhausted. It's hard. It kind of feels like you're getting hit in the face over and over again. But I will say that there is hope, that there are positive things that are happening. And that is what we hold on to. I'm going to talk a little bit later about a positive bill to end period poverty, or the fact that we are passing a bill. There's a bill moving very quickly in the legislature right now to institute mandatory Asian American and Pacific Islander history in schools. As a Chinese woman who had to learn my own history and culture outside of the schoolroom, that means so much to me. There's a bill to allow candidates for statewide office to utilize campaign funds for child care, which opens up the opportunity for running for office to more people who have children.
Thank you. Lauren, I know you come from a bit of a different vantage point, but just speaking as a board member and the things that you see, the people that you meet, what surprises you most about some of the challenges that still exist?
Yeah,
It's really interesting. So I got involved about 8 years ago. I just had my first son. I was coming back from maternity leave. So that in and of itself comes with certain challenges, right? Figuring out childcare, trying to feel like yourself, but your brain's still a little foggy, and you're, wanting to be that great employee, the great mom, the great wife, trying to play a million roles. And I think what's interesting is we have so many age ranges involved in our organization, and you speak to some of the women who maybe were very much pioneers, had careers when many women did not and whatnot, and they're always surprised when they talk to me on both fronts, how far things have come, but also how much has still stayed the same. And I think, you look at some of the statistics at home of, even though in most households both men and women are working, but yet the amount of domestic work and other type of responsibilities, it's still really falling onto the women in their household. And so I think the thing for me that keeps me going is that we call ourselves a social change organization, and that's really about creating these major cultural shifts. And it takes time and it takes energy, and you don't get overnight results, but it's something that as culturally we can evolve, that's really where I hope to be, where things that right now, my husband, when he took our son for the first time to the grocery store, he comes home, he goes, at least 7 people came up to me and was like, good for you. I'm like, nobody says that to me when I take our son to the grocery store. So it's making those things more normalized, right?
Tell you what, my husband, his idea of a good meal with the 3 girls, when he has them, it's Chick-fil-A. I just let him go.
Yeah.
Just do what you want.
And he probably gets his back
Yeah, hey,
like,
it is what it is.
Christina,
the Lord's Place has been around for a long time. You guys have been one of those first vehicles driving change for women. When you look, though, today, the problems that are still there, what are you seeing that is most concerning?
What we're seeing that is most concerning is that still every night, any given night, more than 200 women are sleeping on the streets or in their cars or in abandoned buildings or other places that are not safe. We also see that the fastest growing portion of the prison population is women, and those women are leaving incarceration with broken lives, broken family connections, and they need financial support to rebuild those lives. We're also seeing an increase in homelessness among older adult women. So what we're doing is providing supportive housing and connection to employment and other resources to increase economic security.
Without that permanent shelter, it's a ripple effect.
Exactly. We hear some of the stories that I think about at night when I go home is women who have been separated from their children for so long, whether due to homelessness or incarceration, and they're doing everything right in our housing programs. We have transitional and longer-term housing programs for women. They're doing everything right. They're working on themselves, they're doing therapy, they're doing medication, and they're ready to get their children back if only they could find an affordable place to live.
And affordable is few and far between here in South Florida. Frady, Unchained at Last, wow. Speak to me about the challenges. I mean,
how long do you have? Yeah. So at Unchained at Last, we are working to end forced marriage and child marriage in the United States. I'm a forced marriage survivor myself. I grew up in the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community where I was forced to marry as a teen, forced to have unprotected sex with my husband, forced to have 2 children without my consent. And when I managed to escape, my family retaliated by shunning me. They still consider me dead. So at Unchained, we not only help individuals to escape, we're on the front lines helping individuals in every U.S. state to escape from forced marriages and rebuild their lives, but we're also pushing for social policy and legal change. We want to put ourselves out of business.
Seems like more and more we're hearing about sex trafficking, and so these forced marriages, a lot of people I think would be surprised in 2023. It's still happening, and you may not even realize it. Give us some, red flags that people out there could look for that might surprise them, that this is going on right under their nose.
Well, I think probably the most obvious red flag that it's going on, but you just don't realize it, is the child marriage. That's, in addition to working to end forced marriage of adults, we realized very early on that child marriage is a significant problem because it was legal at the time in all 50 states when I founded Unchained at Last in 2011, and what child
almost no way out of a forced marriage. I wonder if anyone here knows the youngest age you can marry right now in the United States, in any U.S. state. Anyone want to guess? I hear 14, 12. Some people have very little faith in our country. All of those numbers are too high, and 16. In a lot of states, it's still 0. In a lot of states, there's still no minimum age for marriage. And even at 17, that's the age that the best we could get Florida to do a few years ago. You can't leave home if your spouse is abusive, or if your parents are forcing you to marry. You can't get into a domestic violence shelter. You can't retain an attorney. You can't bring a legal action. You can't file for divorce.
You're trapped.
You're trapped.
And Florida specific, there's been no type of movement in terms of legislation to change this, correct?
We tried a few years ago to make the marriage age 18, no exceptions, which we at Unchained have helped to do so far in 7 states, only 43 states to go. Thank you. We tried in Florida and we failed. The best we could get was 17. Most of the minors who marry here are age 17, so that did not help. Child marriage is still happening here.
Given the current landscape, if you had a crystal ball, what's the most pressing challenge that you see in the next 5, 10 years?
I think in terms of, from the perspective of the Women's Foundation and the work that we do, it's really making sure that we're paying attention to what's happening legislatively, specifically at the state level and at the federal level, because there are bills that are affecting, especially girls, that are passing, that are going through legislation that aren't even being checked, that aren't being talked about, that are detrimental. Things like increasing police in our school systems, which automatically increases the number of young Black women who are entering the juvenile justice system. And so that is a big part of the work that we're doing, is really trying to be in Tallahassee in the Capitol, paying attention to the legislation and making sure that things like bills that are going to harm young women and girls are being adjusted, that we're working with legislators to try to make them better. So things like the child's marriage, we would work behind the scenes to try to improve that. But our ability to do so is limited, but I will say I'd like to introduce some hope. We have a positive bill. We are working on a period poverty bill that would alleviate the struggle for Florida students by providing period products in restrooms at no cost to students, just like they do paper towels and napkins in the cafeteria. It's not that big of a lift, and it would go a long way in alleviating poverty, but also a dignity issue for any person who has a period. So I think that there's a lot that can be done. It's about kind of reading between the lines and working with partners to push through positive change and try to improve the negative stuff.
Lauren, go ahead, please.
May I call you about partnering on child marriage?
Let's talk.
All right, history was just made here.
Absolutely love that connection. Lauren, you have your finger on the pulse as well. People are coming in and you're seeing the checklist of needs without groups like Herizon and others that are committed community partners here to doing the work. What do you think is going to happen in the next 10, 15 years? What's going to be that issue that's, ugh?
I mean, I think there's a lot. I don't know that I know the one particular issue, because I think one of the things too is like a lot of us here are sitting in a very privileged position where, you know, I grew up in a household of being a woman's not a barrier and whatnot, but we're sitting in a very privileged position. So I think the needs are going to continue to change.
Same. Christina.
What do we see as a need that's upcoming?
Absolutely. If you had a crystal ball, you know, just on the trajectory that we are right now, what concerns you for women, for girls in the next 5 years?
What concerns me from my perspective at the Lord's Place is not only issues with women's housing stability, but the trickle-down issues of their safety, their mental health because of trauma, and their future economic security, this future of their children, of course, because then it's the next generation. What we try to do at the Lord's Place is break the cycle of homelessness between the generations. And what we are also seeing is just a rise in health issues. I think health is something, you know, physical and mental health, that's an increasing concern and a barrier to those goals.
We're hearing a lot more, Brady, about mental health. We're talking about it a lot more. The tools aren't always, though, in place. I was at an elementary school probably a month ago, and they had to call in somebody from the outside, family services. There was a 6-year-old who was cutting herself. 6 years old. And I remember going home and telling my husband, who's in law enforcement, how do you even know how to even begin that process to heal whatever pain you're in? So I can't even imagine the things that you see and hear.
Yeah, and we're seeing, so that's no longer happening in Florida because now Florida 17 is the minimum age, but in other states, you can marry at 6 years old. So that, you know, we're talking about 300,000 children were married in the U.S. between 2000 and 2018. They were as young as 10 years old. There were judges approving marriages of 10-year-olds. But in terms of what I see as a big issue coming up, we're very concerned at Unchained that the recent U.S. Supreme Court's decision, the Dobbs decision, overturning Roe v. Wade is going to increase rates of child marriage. Because if a girl gets pregnant and she cannot have an abortion, she's probably going to be under more pressure to marry, in some cases marrying her rapist. So we're very concerned about this. And we've partnered with McGill University to study whether there's going to be an increase in child marriage. And this is, you know, we have to redouble our efforts to pass legislation in all 50 states, including Florida. 18, no exceptions.
For people who are in our audience today, what can they do to help?
Well, I encourage all of you to go to unchainedatlast.org to see how you can get involved. We don't have any coalition or campaign right now in Florida, but we do have in other states some hope that we can pass legislation this year in Connecticut, Vermont, Michigan, and we will get back to Florida. So I hope all of you will be there standing with us when we get back to Florida. And also, we've gotten a lot of our support from Herizon, so thank you all for supporting Herizon. Keep doing that. Herizon's doing great work.
Absolutely. Speaking, and this is, I know we're running out of time, but Takeda, and I'll go around one more time. You know, as a partner with Herizon, and you have been on the receiving end of that generosity, how has that empowered you all to be able to do more?
You know, this question, as I thought about it, I'm like, my answer is going to be like 30 minutes long. We have such a deep relationship with Herizon. I feel like since the two organizations were pretty much founded around the same time, so we've always collaborated, but through the grants program, just to name the ones that we've received while I've been in the position that I am, we've received funding for our Girls Leadership Institute STEAM Academy. And it wasn't just to put the program on, it allowed us to take the program and put it on in the Glades community. So rather than putting the students from the Glades on a bus and shipping them to West Palm or Palm Beach Gardens, we were able to go to them and bring the program to their community instead of telling them that they had to leave to get those opportunities. That was life-changing for the people in that space. Another grant that we received was for our Women on the Run program. This is a nonpartisan campaign training and mentorship program. It started back in 2012 or 2013 as like a 2-hour program, a couple nights in 1 month. Now it's a 10-week program where women are learning how to run for office, and they're winning. We have about 30% of the folks that we've trained, about 500 women since 2017, and 30% of them have run for office, and of the ones who run, over 60% are currently serving as elected women.
Yeah. Wow. That's phenomenal.
And that would not have been possible without the financial support of Herizon allowing us to expand our programs. And then, of course, most recently, working with Herizon, we have a statewide advocacy program, like I mentioned, and we are putting a lot of time and energy into something called the Learning with Dignity Bill. And the bill will mandate period products on college campuses. But what's amazing is the funding is supporting a youth-led coalition called the Coalition Against Period Poverty. So we have 6 groups of youth-led programs that are providing period products in their communities, and they come together weekly with me and are going to Tallahassee to pass this legislation to change the lives of students with periods across the state.
That's fantastic. Lauren, you've come through the leadership program. You've probably been even more enlightened, but excited and inspired to do more. If you had a magic wand to wave, what do you do with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think our advocacy, our grant making, our education, all these things, we really can push things forward, create the social change. I mean, I know every time I listen to a grantee partner, like the ones that are sitting up here, that I'm always more and more inspired. But also I learn, I mean, I think just 2 really quick stories. One of my first experiences, we had an amazing presenter that talked about like how we talk to our kids with a gender lens. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm really involved. I must be doing this totally right. And I'm listening, and I am hearing all the things that just we don't even think about. How, you know, a little girl walks in, and what's the first thing you typically say to her? Oh, you look so cute. And a little boy walks in, and it's like, hey, buddy, like, how, you know, and it's just very different. And these things shape us for the rest of our lives. And not that we don't want someone to say that we're pretty, but, you know, I've definitely become much more aware. When I see a little girl, I try and say, oh, I've heard you're really smart, or you're really outgoing, or some other term. And then the other thing I think that was shocking is one of my other first experiences, we watched this documentary that was made by a local woman called Dark Side of the Fuller Moon that explored postpartum depression and anxiety. And it's like, you know it exists, and I've certainly had friends that have struggled with it. But seeing it on a big screen and understanding, you know, for some women, this is life or death with suicidal thoughts. A local woman, her husband had to hide the knives. And it was her saying to her husband, like, hide the knives. I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's a medical condition. And we've worked toward creating programs for support for that. So I think I'm just always inspired every day. And just knowing that I'm very much a believer that each person can do their part. And so when we collaborate with other partner organizations, we really have the ability to move things forward.
Thank you. Christina, how has Herizon been a springboard for the Lord's Place?
We've been partnering with Herizon for the past 5 years, and I think it's been a really exciting and beneficial partnership for our clients because we pride ourselves on providing innovative, compassionate, and effective services. And this partnership has allowed us to launch some pilot programs in our women's supportive housing that have increased the women's stability in housing as well as their economic stability, beginning with the first partnership for a grant that we had. We implemented more gender-responsive curriculum and support groups, which actually led to recognition from Stephanie Covington, who is a national leader in writing women's recovery programs. We got to meet with her and talk about how we implemented our programs, and she uses us as an example of how those programs have been implemented, and that was made possible through a grant from Herizon. Later, we launched new projects to increase the economic stability of women by connecting them with job coaches and by connecting them with incentives to help keep their employment, to do things like buy bus passes or a Lyft ride if it's raining, and going out and taking the bus would prevent them from looking professional at work, or buying scooters, or buying anything they need to be successful at work. And what I can say, I didn't actually know I was coming up to this panel until today, but I was looking at our data. Before our partnership with Herizon versus now, we've had more women exit with employment, and their average monthly income has doubled since that partnership.
Wow, that's measurable. Wow. All right, Frady, you're up. So again, talk about just how instrumental being a grant recipient from Herizon has been.
Well, when I first reached out to Herizon, actually Jennifer and I were talking about this. She answered that call in 2014. We at Unchained did not have a staff. I was a volunteer. It was a second full-time job for me as a single mom with 2 kids, 2 full-time jobs. Only one of them paid me. And we had almost no budget, and Herizon took a chance on us and supported our work for years. And thanks to Herizon, we have been able, as I said, to start a growing national movement that so far has succeeded in changing the law to end child marriage in 7 U.S. states and 2 territories. And we also now have, we have an actual staff. And there will be 8 of us once we fill the 3 new positions we created. If you know anyone who's looking for a job in New Jersey, we're based in New Jersey. And we now have a budget of $1.2 million. And I just cannot thank Herizon enough.
Thank you all so much for being willing to come up and to share a little of what you do, who you are with our guests today. And I hope that as you all were listening, you realize that it doesn't take a lot sometimes, but just those small steps that can continue to bring about change. Thank you all again very much. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Taylor Materio, and I'm a longtime friend of Eddie Schmidt and Ozzy Medeiros. Go ahead. And I'm gonna try and get through this without crying. Two of the biggest hearts you will ever meet. And I am here to present them today with the inaugural Ally Award. This award recognizes men who support and advocate for women and girls in our community. Eddie and Ozzy know that men serving as an ally to women in our community is the only way to change traditions and social norms that discriminate against women and restrict their freedoms. As longtime supporters of Herizon, they understand their important mission to eliminate gender-based barriers, which also improves the lives of men and boys. And let me tell you something. When these two believe in a mission, they give it their all. They give from their hearts, and they give without ever asking for anything in return. Lifting up this community is ingrained in who they are. Eddie and Ozzy, you are truly an inspiration to us all. And I cannot think of two people more deserving of the inaugural Ally Award and what it represents than you two very special humans I am blessed to call family. Congratulations to you both.
First of all, with a few notes that I wrote, we have to give a huge applause to our panel tonight, or this afternoon, because this is what makes Herizon happen, so congratulations. We want to thank the board, the trustees, and our dear friend Jen and her entire team for this award and the mission that you do every day. Almost 9 years ago, Ozzy and I were introduced by a very dear friend and huge advocate and supporter, at that time JWF, and of course now Herizon, our friend Sandy Krakoff. She may not be with us here on earth, but I know today she is with us in spirit, helping us push the way to the strength and work of this great organization that we fell in love with. We were asked to host a luncheon at Table 26 by Sandy, and it was love at first sight. We quickly discovered that Herizon carries very much our own personal philosophy and core of our personal upbringing and hearted values of simply paying it forward. What we support wholeheartedly was not only endorsing the mission of Herizon, but realizing that we can make a true difference in gifting in the financial perspective of this amazing organization that gives back to many other organizations with heartfelt and deep-rooted passion in helping women and girls. Our support and everyone else's in this room truly helps in transforming change through education, along with growth and opportunity for women within our own community and around the world. And I know wholeheartedly that Ozzy and I support empowering women, because at Table 26, we have a female chef and a female general manager. And they're our bosses. We just signed the check. We love that today we celebrate Herizon to have a voice for all women and girls without discrimination. With our support and yours, this mission will continue for years to come. So remember about your donation cards on the table today. I know there'll be several $1 million, not just one check. Ozzy and I are truly humbled and honored. And Taylor, we love you so much to be able to call you family. We won't tell everyone about how many times we get in trouble, but that's okay. Her mom's here, so. To accept the first Ally Award, Our commitment and passion is to continue to pass the tradition of paying it forward, and so that every woman and young girl can have the opportunity of a bright and positive future. So join us in doing that this afternoon. Thank you.
Waiting for our other co-chair to join, but I have to say this. I came here inspired, but I'm leaving here motivated. So I hope that we continue to use opportunities like this to exercise our voices and just to realize the impact that this organization has on our communities. So I am motivated today to keep pushing forward. I have to say that. Thank you.
Well, we're closing out our program today, but I just wanted to stand here and say thank you. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for coming. Thank you for learning about this organization. If you haven't, this is your first time with you. And so we just want to direct you before you go to take your swag bags, and to also, if you're interested in buying the table arrangements, you can speak to any one of the people on our support staff here, and they're $35. Again, from Jamie and I, we are so thrilled to have hosted this event for you today. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.